Hi, I'm Scott and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the intro there, I've had some requests to take a look at my Scotch and bourbon collection. You can see the bar there behind me. It's a little tight to get in there, but we're going to give it a shot and take a quick look. So let's go do that. A little hard to get to. It's a tight fit in here. It's a bar that's off my library. Was originally, you can see right there behind me, was originally the only bathroom on the downstairs level of our house. The house is almost 100 years old. Over the years, it's gone through a couple of different iterations. I'll put up some pictures here of how the bar looked when I first bought the house 7 years or so. It had lovely lime green tiki type motif going on. Obviously you can see I've done a little bit more work to it than that. It's looks a little different now. You can see the bottle storage there, wine down below, a dual zone wine storage, wet sink and cabinet storage over here. And you can see the collection on the top there. I have a number of, there's some very nice whiskeys right there. The Highland Park, the Yamazaki 18 is shockingly good. I never thought Japanese whiskey could hold up to the finest Scotch whiskeys, and man does it. It's also not a cheap bottle. A couple of bourbons, some Blantons, which I know is very trendy to be someone's favorite, but I just think they're really good. And a Arbor Lore up there. The next one is mostly Scotch. There's a couple of bourbons on the right hand side, but over here on the left, Dewar's White Label, I guess, is my daily go-to drink. I've got the Macallan 12 there, which is excellent. This Glenlivet and Adura, really good. I have another bottle of Glenlivet behind it there. Peeking out there is a Isle of Skye made by Clan MacLeod. Pretty good Isla. Some Glenmorangie, the Laphroaig, of course. Then over here you can see that E.H. Taylor is an outstanding bourbon, Angel's Envy. There's a random bottle of gin here. The reason being, you can see these all have, they're tall bottles. They didn't fit on the other shelves, so I stuck them in here. There's a bottle of Michter's sticking out in the back. Also, if you saw my Michigan Bourbon Challenge, I've got the Catcher in the Rye and the J. Riddle back there, made by Two James Distillery here in Detroit. The next one down is mostly bourbons. The Detroit City Distillery, Traverse City Whiskey, Elijah Craig. There's a Coppercraft back here again. That was in my Michigan Bourbon Challenge. Woodford Reserve, Knob Creek, the Maker's Marks. That's a nice bottle of Dewar's right there. Again, pretty expensive. Then down below, I have a small but growing collection of tequilas. There's the Cuervo and Padrones, of course, and then this Casamigo is really good. It's almost like a sipping whiskey. That bottle of sake there I got in Japan about 30 years ago. Never cracked it open. Similar to this bottle of gin. I'm not a big gin guy, but I did get it in London at one of the oldest liquor stores in London. Then some obligatory mixer types, Tito's, some other cheap vodka, a bottle of rum back there, you know, Bacardi's. I'm not a rum guy, but if some heathen comes over and wants to drink rum, I'll entertain it. So probably about, I think there's almost 40 bottles of whiskey and bourbon, and then all the other ancillary bottles. We have tried to get into wine a little bit, hence the wine cooler, which has dual zone, so you have the reds on top, a little less chilled than the whites down below. You can see the old tile in here is indicative of it being an old bathroom. And then on this side, simply have the cocktail tools. This is kind of interesting here. As I mentioned, the house is almost 100 years old. We're doing some renovation upstairs on the 3rd floor, and they were tearing out the ceiling, and when they did so, this can of Prince Albert tobacco fell out of the ceiling. So you can just imagine some workman back in 1924 or so up there taking a break at some point, finished up his can of Prince Albert and just tossed it aside, and out it popped almost 100 years later. You can probably hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's coming from the ice maker here. One of the few things I would have done differently, this ice maker is a continuous maker of small cubes, but it's not a freezer, so it makes it and it drains. So it's always fresh ice, but it does waste a lot of water and it makes a lot of noise, and probably something I wouldn't do again. Then a quick spin around to the rest of the library. My pipes and cigars. Happy to do a video on them for those that are interested. My tobacco collection. The rest of my library, where I've done a couple of videos. Gun cabinet. Treasures from my travels around the world. Well, I hope you liked that little tour of my small Scotch and bourbon collection, my bar. I'm gonna finish my drink here. If you did like this, you like this type of content, leave a message down below on your favorite type of whiskey or bourbon or anything else for that matter, and maybe we'll do a tasting sometime in the future here in the arena.